Alright, y'all, I gotta set you up real quick so that everything's all good. Oh, and y'all can't see me. Okay. We got it. It's a beautiful day out here. Alright. So I got my notebook that I left out yesterday, but a quick recap of my day so far. So it's a beautiful day out here. Oh, well, there we go. Nice beach and everything. And today I woke up early. Is it morning? It's actually afternoon for me. But good morning to you as well. Thank you very much for that comment. And what was I saying? This morning we drove in like an hour away to go look at some stores and everything, to go to Whole Foods to look at their options for food from a variety of locations. And and then we came back to the location I'm currently at, had some wings, buffalo wings. They were so good. And yeah. And let me see what I want to talk about today. Let's see. Oh, waiting. So if you are in, wow, it's really sunny out here and I did not bring my sunglasses out. If you are in a season of waiting, just know that the patience you have, no matter the level of patience it's at, everything's gonna work out. And the reason why I state that is because if you are waiting, that means you are not rushing things. It's mean that you're letting God take his time with things. It means you are letting God line everything up to be good in your life. But while you're in the season of waiting, you don't just stop working. You start focusing on things that you could handle and that are within your control, but you're waiting for the things to come that are outside of your range, outside of your control. They're more in the hands of God at the moment and not in yours. So during a season of waiting, it doesn't mean you stop working. It means you focus on the things that you could control while you wait on the things you cannot control. So yeah. Let's see. Waiting for you. Okay. Oh wow, I have tons of stuff written here. Let's look. So in a season of waiting, you could be waiting on figuring out what the next step is for you in life. And sometimes this means trying new things and trying to figure out what you're great at, trying to identify what could potentially benefit others that you're really good at. Say if you're great at giving directions, awesome. Maybe become a tour guide, or maybe figure out every aspect on how you can give directions. Is it road maps? Is it directions as in how to do something? Is it directions on being able to describe a location clearly so people don't need a map, but they could, based on how you describe the information presented to them, they could easily get from one location to the other? And there's many different aspects that could go into that. That could be making maps, that could be making an app, that could be making a website to make it easier for people to get to one place to another, or a how-to-do list of how to do something. And when you discover something that you're really good at and that you enjoy doing and you know it could help others, then you're going in a right step. Because when you're really good at something, but maybe you're not really good at it in the moment, maybe you really like it and you don't mind putting in the work to be even better at it, that's key. Because no matter what you do, you're going to be doing a lot of it. Whatever you choose to do with your life, you're going to be doing it for an X amount of time, and it's mainly not just for 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, and most likely not just 1 year. You're going to be doing this for a good chunk of your time. And when you discover this, it may be quick, it may not be. You may find bits and pieces along the way before you finally figure out the whole story. And that's okay, because our whole lives is a learning process, and mainly trying to figure out ourselves, but also just trying to understand the world and how it works and why we're here. So yeah, I had something to go on with that, but then it like flew out of my mind. So sometimes you may just not understand where you're at in the moment, and that's okay. That could be your location may not understand why you're at the location that you are. You may not understand the things that you're doing, and that's fine. In fact, identifying those questions and writing them down, or taking note of them at least, and then thinking about them will help you get to the ideal place that you have in your mind. Because if you don't have these questions, but you're curious, then without questions you can't get answers. And identifying the questions is good. The next step would to be who's a reliable or expert in that, who could answer the correct question to the best of their ability and will give you a thoughtful answer. Because if you ask an expert and then you ask a random person who's not an expert in that field, well then you're going to get two answers, but one's going to be more valuable than the other. And so knowing where to ask the questions is key. And one you could ask these questions to is God, or a reliable person you know that is great in the field. Say you have a question on research. Well, you're not going to ask a person at a grocery store about a research question, because what they know is groceries. They don't know about the field of research. No, if you're going to ask somebody a research question, well, you might as well ask someone in that field, a scientist or someone conducting research, a researcher, because they're going to know more about the field than a grocery worker. So having your questions, knowing who to ask, and then taking the answers and writing it down and seeing, does that answer apply to you? Does it really work for the question that you asked? Is it something that really applies to your life? Because the expert could give you a valuable answer, but you also have to realize that the answer may not be the answer you're searching for. So in that case, take note of that, rewrite your question to get the answer that you're really looking for. And sometimes it takes trial and error. It's a process. You may not always get your answer on the first time of asking your questions, because sometimes you know the question you have in your head, but trying to word it in a certain way, it doesn't come clear sometimes right away, and sometimes you need to ask a few people, does this make sense? If I were to hand you this question, would you be able to write down the answer on a sheet of paper? And yeah, what else? So identifying your question, knowing who to ask, rewriting your question if needed to clarify it more, to clarify it towards the answer you're searching for, because sometimes questions are so broad, so the answer that you're given may be correct, but it's not in the direction you're looking at. And so knowing that is key, and it's okay if you get the question wrong a few times, because it's your question. You're trying to find the answer to it, and sometimes when you don't know the answer, it's harder to word the question. So it's fine. It's all the trial process, and that's okay. And I feel like that's where sometimes people get discouraged, but don't, because you're just trying to figure it out, and that's fine. In fact, figuring out is better than just sitting on the couch and scrolling through your phone, just trying to find something to entertain you and not addressing whatever's on your mind. So yeah, you're doing the right thing. It's just not many people discuss that it may be a process sometimes, and when you take a note of that, then you'll start to realize when you ask people certain questions, it may not be the answer you're looking for. You don't get as discouraged, because then you think back to the original question you have, and you try to think of ways to reword it. How could you address it in a way that it leads to the answer that you're searching for? So yeah. Alright, that's all the information I currently have at the moment, because otherwise I'm just going to be rambling on about the same information over and over. If you did enjoy this, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, as well as leaving a comment down below of more clarification if necessary, or if a question popped up to you during this video, please leave that down below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to look at it when I have time. But until then, we'll see y'all next time, and bye y'all.